What's going on? And welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin here with Meelz. Welcome back, Meelz.
Thank you. It was a nice week off. I still indulge in everything that I indulge in, which is wrestling.
That sounded
Uh,
easy almost. Like,
sorry,
what
sorry.
you indulging in?
Uh, poor Knicks losses,
Oh,
long walks because of it. Um, you know, the norm. Actually, this is not normal. Us in the Eastern Conference Finals is not normal, but I digress. Um, how have
I
you
saw,
been, sir?
I saw somebody say we got to the ECF. This is our this is our ring. This is our championship. And I said, damn, that's such a defeatist way of thinking of things.
It's ass, but when you think of it like Joel Embiid is one of the greatest basketball players of this era and has never reached the Eastern Conference Finals, I feel really good about that. So sometimes I have to think that way
You wouldn't
too.
say that's your ring, though. You wouldn't say this is
Hell
our
no, 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 no,
championship.
no, 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 no. No. We got to go all the way. Like if we reach this far, we can go all the way. So I usually have to like say myself stuff like when I was learning how to drive, I'd be like, well, if this nigga can drive, I can learn how to drive. I don't know if niggas do that. But I certainly do. So I'm trying to I want to carry that thought process into learning how to swim one day.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
if this nigga can swim, certainly I can learn how to swim.
Well, I mean, you watch a challenge. I watch a challenge,
Sure.
and that is like the main thing that me and you talk about is when there is a water based challenge.
It's not for
We
us.
It's not for we automatically know who's the best black swimmer on the challenge. Is it
There is no
Corey?
best black swimmer.
It's got to be Corey, right?
Uh, I
It was
can't think.
one season. It was Leroy. One season, Leroy was going
One
crazy.
season it was Leroy because he had learned to swim in that pool at one time.
Yeah,
Um, but I can't think of any amazing black swimmers on the challenge. Like
well, there you go.
everyone usually we're like fourth at the high like we come in fourth place the highest. Like they would have to be some real expert thing. Are they even I mean, let me see. Have black people covered the Olympics in swimming yet?
I
Black
ain't never seen it.
uh black Olympic swimmers. I'm sure there's some. Gotta. Oh,
Crazy,
okay, there's a couple.
crazy search query, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. Simone Manuel became the first African American woman to win an individual Olympic gold medal in swimming. So, shout out to us. We can do it. Um, but we have to be at the Olympic level. Um,
Yeah, that's it.
how
Uh,
was your weekend, sir? How was your weekend?
it was chill. I'm trying to be present in the moment. You know,
Of course.
me and you got some good news, some like promising news over the week, last week, and I was just trying to be present and just like really locked in on enjoying my weekend, but also manifesting. I think manifesting is like the best way to go about things right now for me. But I do have an update for you,
Mm,
and I think you'll be proud of this. I
okay.
One Piece update. This is for everybody wondering. I did not give up. All right.
I love
And,
that for you.
and if people don't know, I also binge another show monthly with some of our pals in the Discord. So and these are like not short seasons, by the way. But I've been tossing on One Piece while I'm doing work, while I'm applying, while I'm doing my model kits, while I'm just surfing the internet, playing Diablo 4, anything. I finished Arlong Park.
Look at you.
I
That's what,
finished
60 episodes?
Yeah, I finished it, and I am finished. I'm on to what is it? What's the shit called? Hold on, Logtown. That's what it is. Logtown.
Right, right.
I'm a couple ways through Logtown, and let me tell you, when I opened up that One Pace, shit to the next couple, and them shits was long as shit. I said, yeah, I see it. I see it now.
Yeah, trust me, man. It gets long and it's just like it could be shorter. It could be shorter for sure. But the fact you finish Arlong Park is amazing. One of my favorite scenes, obviously, is when Luffy and them save Nami and they're walking through the hood, and it's like he puts the hat on her, and it
Yeah,
was like, we'll handle this. And it's like the fellas. It's like,
yeah,
there are moments like that throughout the anime that make you remember why you do it, but if you can get to Water 7, which is very long from here, it's about 300 plus episodes in, but you're a fifth of the way there.
Yeah.
Um, I think Water 7 is the arc where you're like, oh, this is One Piece.
I keep I
This
keep
is One
I keep
Piece.
hearing about Water 7 and Skypiea. Skypiea is
Skypiea, I'm not a fan of. Skypiea is very long, and once you get to Skypiea, I'll tell you the uh the the main villain of Skypiea, I believe, is based on Eminem.
oh, wow. Okay. That shows
It's
you
not
how
that it's
old.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that shows you how old it is. But once you see him, you're like, oh yeah, that's Eminem right there.
So, the funniest part to me,
Mhm.
and this also happened in Arlong Park. Let me be clear. I chuckle quite often at this silly ass show. This show is actually really funny, and I did not expect it to be as funny as it was. But I find myself laughing at some of the shit that's said sometimes, like just like the little things that they do comedically. Not, and this is no spoilers. Nothing is funnier than Nami running through all them niggas, jumping on the fucking ship,
Mhm.
and then lifting up her shirt, and niggas like, and then fucking, the fucking wallets coming out of her fucking shirt.
Nigga,
Bro, I rewound that shit 6 times. Bro, that was the funniest shit I had seen literally in hours because I watched the rehearsal finale. But that shit was hilarious.
Japanese niggas got a different sense of humor, is what I'll
That
say.
shit was, bro, when the fucking wallet started hitting the fucking floor, I said, dog, she is comedy, dog.
Original City Girl. Um,
Also, shoe updates. Shoe updates, man.
right.
I've been going crazy, man. I need to chill.
I don't know how. I certainly can't.
I need to chill. I just save my money in credit
Okay.
card. Uh, listen, man. White cement forest almost brought a tear to my eye, bro. That was one pair I needed to get. Like I needed to get that pair, and I had been saving for that anyway. Like I knew it was coming. I knew it was on the way. So like I actually had money like stashed away for that. And
Mhm.
I funny shit is I was able to walk into the store and buy them on Saturday.
I love that for you. As it should be.
Like
As it fucking should be.
it was really beautiful. I struck out on online. That's never gotten better. That's still not good. But I was like, bro, this is like the white cement fours. These are not like brick by brick fours or anything like that. So like I had to get a pair for my goddaughter, my niece. So I basically was like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk through the mall and just walk to every shoe store and just see what happens and just try my luck. At the very least, I knew I'd be able to get toddler size, you know? And
Mhm.
I walked through one of the
I mean,
stores.
those sizes are still sitting on the internet for sure.
Exactly. I walked into one store, I think it was Foot Locker. They said, hey, we don't open up our raffles to anyone until 6 o'clock. I said, 6 o'clock? I'm like, nigga, the mall about to close. Like, I was like, bro, can you do three? And I was like, I'll make it. I was like, I'll even pay you, on the side. If you could do it for three, hold me a 10 and a 4C. He was like, listen, let me see what I can do. Call me at 2 o'clock. And
All right.
I'll
Listen,
see what I
man,
can do it for
you
three.
taking it back to the era of
Exactly.
haggling.
So I did that. I was like, all right, bet locked. But I was like, let me look at other stores to see if I can, pick up something a little easier. I go up the escalator. This is after 3 stores I've been through, by the way. I go up the escalator. Some places didn't even get them, mind you. I see an Armenian kid with a bag full of Jordan 4 boxes. And I said, what the fuck? And where the fuck did he come from? I walk up a couple stores. Oh, it's JD Sports. And they had niggas in line.
Hey.
One of the niggas in there was just like, man, I don't even care about this shit no more. We just trying to sell these so we can go about our day. And I was like, you know what? I feel you. You got a 10 and a 4C? He said, I got you, bro. Come on up. And so what they would do is, since there was a limit of 2 in their cashier and their register, they would let you buy 2 and you got to go to the back of the line. You could buy 2, you got to go to the back of the line. And that's what they were doing. So that's why they didn't sell out like crazy.
Huh.
So I got my pairs.
I love that for you. The sneaker experience has been so tainted as of in the last number of years. I'm glad that you're able to just like able to go pick up a pair of sneakers, drive the bitch back home, put them on, Have you ever put on a sneaker as you left the store? Of course not.
No, no.
You're not an animal.
They want you to
Um,
hop on one foot holding your nose.
put them on as you get into the car. You take your little sneaker pics on your asphalt or whatever the fuck you got going on. Um, it is what it is. But I like that story. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to your goddaughter as well for
Yeah, I'm the
keeping
best,
her fresh.
I'm the best Nino around. I got
Of
her first
course,
pair of Jordans, and I told my brother-in-law it had to be me.
it had to be me.
I had to be the one to do it. But yeah, that was my weekend. That was probably like the biggest dub of my weekend. And I saw a lot of movies this weekend too. I saw Mission Impossible. I saw Lilo and Stitch. The Lilo and Stitch was directly a compromise to the Mission Impossible. So I had to do it because I took my wife to see Mission Impossible, and it was long as shit.
So how was Lilo and Stitch? Because my niece wants to go, but I was like, I heard it was kind of.
If she's how old is she? She's here's
She's
my thing about
16.
I don't think that a lot of the things that like people are upset about, and this is mostly adults saying it, really is going to resonate with kids. Like I saw somebody say this morning, they're putting industrial military complex things in the movie as jokes, and I'm like, man, it don't make the movie's still bad. Like as an adult, like the movie's bad. Like Stitch is iconic. Okay, he's an iconic character. There
Hmm.
honestly isn't enough of him in the movie, to be honest with you. Like it should be more Stitch. He's hilarious every time he's on screen. The rest
Hmm.
of it, the human shit, who honestly, as a kid, who gives a fuck about any of the shit that the humans are saying or doing? They did change a lot of the big kind of plot moments from the original movie. It had been, admittedly, it's been years since I've seen the original movie, but like
I saw
the
the original
change,
movie once, so I don't actually even remember much
and
about.
you wouldn't even notice if someone didn't like really do like obviously the big villain is different. Like the shark villain guy isn't in it anymore. Um, and the villain is his creator. But like other than that, it's just like people are mad that one of the I guess the alien wasn't wearing a dress or something like that, which like it sucks, but like what you're getting yourself into with these Disney remakes. You know what I mean? Like they're going to change very large things. I didn't see Lion King. I don't know if they changed a lot of stuff about that. I don't know if it's possible for you to do that.
Nigga, I would. Never mind. When I saw the trailer, I was just like, I don't
Hell
want to
no.
watch this.
Yeah, like, but I mean, it's still like a movie that's just very. It was giving streaming, and I think that's really
Yeah,
my
yeah,
biggest issue
yeah.
with it. Like, it was giving straight to streaming, and then I learned that it was supposed to go straight to streaming before they made it. If theatrical, which I mean, obviously, like the Gambit paid off. It was the highest grossing movie over the weekend, 250 million. It made its money back and then
Yeah,
some. It's
yeah,
probably going to make a billion
of
this summer,
course.
all things considered. There were so many kids in there that had Stitch gear, Stitch ears. My wife got the Stitch ears and the Stitch popcorn bucket, all this shit. Like he's a huge deal. So like a lot of what they're saying is just like I understand that sometimes when you watch media, I feel like sometimes when people watch media, and this goes to wrestling as well, and we'll talk about that too. Like people watch media in such a strange way, and it goes
Hmm.
both ways. There's people who are way too intellectual about media, and it's just like how are you consuming it that way? And then there's some people who are just completely like just black and white, you know what I'm saying, and just completely not thinking about media in the right way. Like I don't know what the middle ground is, but like if you're reading into this Disney movie that you obviously know was built to make Disney money and get kids in there and get them to buy shit, you're doing too much. Just give the movie 1 star and move on. There's no need for my
Right.
TikTok feed to be filled up with people saying they don't respect Hawaiian people in the Hawaii. I'm just like, bro, what did you expect? What did you fucking expect from Disney? They have no respect for anything. You know what I mean? So yeah,
Listen, huh. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And I'm glad it's good. So maybe I'll actually go and see it. Who knows?
my niece might like it. She might dig it.
She might dig it. That's kind of all I got. I mean, the only thing I've been watching this weekend: wrestling, the
And Nick,
streaming university, other shit like basketball. So finished up our season of the lookout. So now we're gonna do summer at Kame House. So we're trying to figure that out.
my favorite time of
Uh
the year.
it's one of my favorite times too. We trying to figure out what the hell we're gonna talk about this summer. We haven't figured it out yet because of everything else going on between all types of freelance projects and all this other shit like that. Like I'm glad that I'm currently keeping myself busy because it's very hard being unemployed and feeling like there's no movement at all. So it's I'm glad I've been keeping myself busy doing articles and doing podcasts and all this stuff like that. So um it's been fun, but wrestling was the name of the game this weekend. Kind of. I mean, kind of. I was like, you know what?
It's
It was
everywhere.
the name of the game this weekend. It was the name of the game this weekend.
It was fucking everywhere. I mean, where do we start? Do we start with
We got
all
we
the
had we had a triple feature this weekend in terms of wrestling, and guess what? Next month or in July, it's gonna happen again.
yeah. We are not escaping any of the
In fact, maybe even a quadruple feature, because the name of the game for this week, the word of the day, is counter programming.
yes.
How do we feel about counter programming? How do we feel about WWE putting shows on the same day as AEW shows and supposedly having their audience choose?
I mean, people want there to be competition. We see it all the time. The ratings talk, the attendance talk. This is on both ends, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much talk about all of this stuff, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, correct?
Sure
And
is.
then when it's finally here, it
When the
is
smoke has
finally,
arrived.
yeah, the smoke is here. Don't pick on the $1 billion company. Remember, we got so much money. And this is on both ends. We got so much money. Okay. let's
New
see.
TV deal. Shit, man.
Let's see who gonna do what they do.
I
Let's
don't
see
think
who gonna do what they do.
I'll personally say this. Um, I think it's never really a great idea to do it in terms of just like this competition thing, especially on the same day, rather, right? Like we look at things that have happened competition in like other media, right? Like remember when they used to do Apple Music exclusive releases and Spotify exclusive releases, and that wasn't really a benefit to anybody. I don't think counter programming in this kind of aspect of like having the same day and having it be an issue for people who actually want to watch to have to choose which they want to watch. But the realistic part of this thing is people prefer one thing over the other. So they're going to watch what they want to watch anyway. Um I think with AEW has more of an issue, and I think they would have less of an issue if they had a real streaming partner who would help stream these events and also put it on live demand immediately after the fact. Because if you miss All In, you missed All In.
Mhm.
If you miss Evolution or Battleground or anything like that, you can still watch it afterwards. And then also, it's all about meeting that competition. Counter programming to me, it's weird. Only
But
one company can really do it.
but here's the thing though. Like I feel as though there is not really that much of an overlap. Who does this affect truly, other than the people who cover wrestling for a living?
I would say
Truly.
it doesn't really affect. So if you look at the great Venn diagram of their audience, right? More people, if you look at actually previous examples of counter programming, days where there have been pay-per-views and episodes of Collision, days where there's been episodes of NXT and an episode of Dynamite, days when there's been both of these things, you'll realize a large part of the AEW audience is a WWE audience, but it is not the other way around.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of AEW fans, from what we see, even just in ratings, they don't follow them from Dynamite to Collision. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a huge drop off from
Yeah,
Dynamite to Collision. Like, they just don't. They watch on Wednesday, and that's the only day that they watch. Like, they are conditioned for Wednesday, and I think that when you get into the era or the realm of counter programming, a lot of these shows, I could see if it was like, again, I think the biggest one would be if WWE says we're going to put the same show in the same city in the same time and then let the fans choose. That's like the big, like, whoa, they're fucking wilding. You know what I'm saying? I think ultimately it's clear, and we've seen it, that WWE pay-per-views on the same day as AEW shows does affect AEW shows negatively. That's without a doubt.
absolutely.
But I also feel as though it is on AEW to put on the best show possible that they can with the biggest stars that they can. And a lot of the reason why that does not happen is because they have mortgaged away a lot of their TV time on things that do not matter and things that ultimately their fans have rejected, and has driven away new fans. And I don't think there's like, as much people want to say like AEW is just so much more enjoyable right now in WWE. I think the WWE product is pleasing the WWE fans ultimately, and that's what you see. They're still
I think
showing.
so as well. I think so as well. I will agree that AEW programming has had a much more consistent direction over the last 2 months. Um, as opposed to last year, where it was kind of all over the place and there were so many questionable decisions. There's still questionable decisions, don't get me wrong. There's still the occasional, you get 2 or 3 head scratchers a Dynamite episode, you're averaging for sure. Of like, why is this nigga on first? Why are the women main event here and it's a match that doesn't matter? You get those things. So they still have a lot to work out with programming wise. But I think, but here's the thing also, they should be doing this, right? Their programming should be better at this point of the year because they're heading towards their biggest show of the year, right? So you're getting all these programs. You're going to get Mox versus Adam Page, which I guess we'll talk about in a bit. Mercedes versus Tony, likely Kenny versus Okada. You're getting these major matches that are happening and they're building stories towards them. And the only reason why the programming seems better is because there's actually a clear direction with their shows heading towards something. And I think that's something that they've missed for a very, very long time, not really having a major show for quite a bit. Um, or at least treating those shows like every other fucking show. Because not every show should have 13 matches, but here we are at the end of the day. Um, but they do so much to, again, devalue the attention span of the people who are tuning in, that it's easy for people to say, I know this means something on this other channel. For instance, I think it's All In is going up against NXT Great American Bash
Yeah. Which
coming up
I
next
mean,
month.
which be clear, they're gonna load that show out. In
Yes,
July.
I'm sure they're going to load the show up. I'm sure there's going to be a Dusty Classic. I'm sure there's going to be, I can't call that, but I would imagine there would be a Dusty Classic. Um, I'm sure there'll be people who are in the vicinity because Evolution is happening at the same time. Saturday night's main event's happening on the same day. I'm sure everyone is going to be in town and they will be there if they need to be there. AEW can worry about All In, and it's their biggest show of the year. So realistically, hopefully, it's this show that you can't miss. And that's really kind of what it really comes down to. I mean, people say it essentially, or at least the narrative kind of is being painted around of WWE kind of wants to extinguish number two, and that's in a sense right. Like
Yeah, I mean, yes.
your
Yes.
competition. You know what I'm saying? And your clear competition. Your clear competition in the fact that you're taking away attention, you're taking away talent, you're taking away all these things that they want to. You can't just ignore that and then call foul when it happens. You're like a major pussy when you do that. You know what I'm saying?
Like globally, it's not like Pepsi and Coke, right? Pepsi knows that
No,
they
it's
need.
not. But I liked my analogy.
No, no,
Um,
no. I mean, yeah, but here's the thing, like the difference with that is like Pepsi knows that it needs Coke to survive because globally they're in more homes, right?
yes.
So if Pepsi dies out, or if Pepsi dies out, Coke is fucked because that doesn't mean that people are going to turn over to Coke. In the sense that AEW and WWE are fighting over this small 3 to 4 to 5 million people, right?
Hmm.
Small, but it's really a lot though when you think about how much they're charging, all of that stuff. WWE don't really need AEW to survive. AEW kind of needs WWE to survive because of where they're at. Like that's what it is. So like in WWE sense, they can extinguish them and move on and it'll be fine because you know what'll happen. The indies will open back up and then they can start signing people anew. They can start doing the same churn that they used to do back before AEW, which is bad. Ultimately, before their bottom line, they want to see that shit happen. You know what I mean? Because it makes it easier for them to get people contracted over there. That's just how their business model works, right? That's why you see them maybe lowball AEW people, but AEW people still come to NXT anyway because they have the opportunity to make the millions, right?
Hmm.
Might not always happen, but you still have the opportunity to do so. I think that if they are somehow in 15 million homes again, you'll probably stop seeing that because ultimately they know that AEW people aren't going over the WWE. but the AEW audience is so small, if they're able to stamp that out just by being them and put them on Destination America like TNA was, then they're fine with that. They're fucking fine with that. I think that all people act like they understand how this shit moves
Yeah.
until they don't. And this is just the way capitalism moves. It's just the way all this stuff moves. Wrestling is not immune to this, but it will also not be solved here. So I don't understand like the being upset about it. I don't understand. Like, watch what you want to watch. There's very little overlap in that sense where like you can't still enjoy what you want to enjoy from either company right now, you know?
No.
Um so they all have pay-per-views. Uh I guess do you want to start at Saturday Night's Main Event?
Yeah, I mean, we can start there. I think
It was a show where like a lot of things happened.
it's a show where things happen. I guess more than I anticipated, to be honest with you. Saturday night's main event has become so it's like
it's,
there for me.
it's a good background show, and ultimately I thought that's what was going to happen until like I kept watching the show and things kept happening, and I was like, oh,
Right.
okay. Seth Rollins' group gets a new member, Bronson Reed. I guess a lot of this kind of folds into Raw as well. We can get into that when we talk about Raw later, but that happened during the show.
Mhm.
We also got John Cena, R-Truth, which is largely what me and you thought it was going to be. Storyline created just to get us to the main event there between Jey Uso and Logan Paul, which actually blew out into the main event of Money in the Bank, I guess. But
I
what do we
mean, it's consistent.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. I mean, I thought that again. I noticed something was up when the match started, like with like 10 minutes left in the show, and I
Yeah.
was like, well, "What's about to happen here?" But John Cena earlier in the night had basically taunted Jey Uso, saying, "You know, I'll be, paying attention to this." So I was thinking, does John want that title too? Like I thought that would have been actually a kind of interesting wrinkle to the storyline. It
I
could
mean, that's what I thought. I mean,
because because at the very least, Meelz, you finally have a babyface that will boo him, that will get him booed. And Jey Uso.
right. Jey Uso, John Cena have history. They've explained that on what multiple things. But if you're John Cena and actually want to ruin wrestling, you take away both world championships. I mean, ideally, you don't want to be in the same point where you have now both world championships missing, like it was on Brock or Roman or something of the rather, and you kind of have shows that have to work without them for an extended period of time. So I do think that Jey Uso could win if they do have those kind of bouts. But I also feel like, to me, that seemed like the best place they're heading to, but they seem like they are like in 8 different directions with Jey Uso, to be
He beats
honest with
him with
you.
he got a lot of and in fact, a lot of people on these shows have a lot of ops. Like it's op summer because there is Jay's in like 5 different storylines. Gable is in like 5 different storylines. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of places where people are going, but they hit the Cody button, and boy, that pop was crazy. They missed this guy. They missed him. That pop was crazy. And I mean, he finally got cheered over John Cena. Finally.
I
Like
mean, at this
consistent.
point, yeah, yeah, it's a pop for the return. I'm interested to see what the promo is going to look like this Friday on SmackDown if he does do one of those. But it's a, I'm a, I was happy to see Cody again. I think we needed Cody. Um, the way kind of like things were kind of like shaping out in terms of the main event spot on SmackDown. I think Cody is definitely someone who is necessary to the show. And now it feels a little bit more lopsided. I feel like SmackDown's a little bit more got a little bit more momentum than Raw currently.
Yeah, I mean, and that's because I mean, we haven't even heard a Punk promo in a while. And I think once we get that, and I would imagine Roman's on Raw now. I think we can kind of just say that now because I mean, there's no
Hmm.
reason for him to be on SmackDown. But um, I actually think the tag match is a good idea. I think the tag match is fun. I think it also
Well,
gets it
this is
gets
what they
Logan.
normally do in the summer, to be honest with you. And
Yeah, but
I think it's happened at multiple Money in the Banks, or at least like built up. I think last year was Solo and Jacob versus like uh some,
I think it
but
was
I
Cody
think
and somebody else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think they normally do this because ultimately you're building towards SummerSlam. The the uh the attraction is the Money in the Bank match. Yeah, it was Bloodline. It was Solo, Jacob, Tamatonga versus Cody, Kevin, and Randy Orton.
Yeah,
So
it was a really fun match too.
um it's it was there, and you had Sammy versus Braun Breaker. Oh, look at this show.
That was a good show.
But
Wow, I'm looking at it right now. I was like, wow, that was a good show.
yeah,
Um, but again, the reason I think it's a good idea, and I like how they did it is that our main argument is that Logan needs to have just a feud, just something where he just feels like he's part of the show,
mhm.
and with everyone instead of having these one offs. You've never really seen. Has he done a tag match yet? No, right? Oh, he did one with
N
Miz. Did one with Miz.
Yeah, 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 but that was, like, the beginning. That
Yeah, that
was
was like
the
6 years ago, right?
Yeah,
Like, that
yeah,
that
yeah,
was a
yeah.
really long time ago,
Also, it
and
was kinda weird. John Cena was like I don't think John Cena came out to save Logan Paul, but he just kinda got wrapped up within the Logan Paul-ness of it all. Like, I he was Cody just kinda really came out. It was like, "Well, if you 2 wanna go, you know,
I
we
like it.
can set up a tag match,
But you know
you and him."
but
Go
you know
ahead.
what else it is? They're putting Cena next to someone who will get him booed.
I agree.
So again, you have the Logan thing where he will finally get booed. He's next to the two top biggest baby faces. They want to ruin wrestling. He's next to a YouTuber that wants to ruin wrestling, who also said he would have sold his soul to The Rock. And I mean, if you add in Travis Scott there, like you got a pretty big match there for June 7th in LA. So I like the way that they're going there. They got a week to build this, which is completely
Yeah.
fine. The storyline's already there. And I thought it was a
How
really solid show.
how loud is John Cena gonna be on that damn apron?
Oh boy.
"Logan, move!"
It was funny that he didn't really call any spots for R-Truth, but it was also like such a
It was
house
4
show match.
minutes.
Yeah, it was such a house show match that it was like, and I like the Ron Cena merch. I thought that was funny.
Ron
Um,
Cena was cool, yeah.
yeah, it was what it needed to be. And I think in
Yeah.
terms of just moving these stories along, Saturday Night's Main Event did that in spades. Um,
What was what's your temperature on the Zelina Vega moment on this show?
what was the moment?
The moment where she missed a 619 and then had to kick Chelsea in the face and then proceeded to break her nose?
Oh yeah, listen, I'm gonna be real with you, man.
Don't be too real, but be real enough.
Get 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 it off. That's all I'm gonna say.
I like the moment that she's having. I could deal with another month of it, but then that's the moment.
Because then, I mean, if we got to get into SmackDown later, but like that, like the
I know, the triple threat. I missed the first part of it, but I saw enough of it to know.
it ain't good. It
Yeah,
ain't
I
good.
saw enough of it. I was like, "Alright, y'all." Someone thought they was snapping with this one. Niggas thought they was going off at this one. It was like, "Nah, we gonna put Julia and Charlotte, but then we gonna add Zelina to it."
And
And
then,
someone was like,
none of it fucking worked.
"Mm."
And then none of it fucking worked. I don't know,
No.
but none of it fucking worked. All I gotta say is
Charlotte's
get it
like,
off.
"I don't know you," and Julia's just like, "I don't know you."
I don't know. At times, Julia was. I don't know anything. I don't know what's going on, and we could levy that same complaint on the Kyrie Sane a little later too. But um, Saturday Night's Main Event, solid show. Just watch the main event, and I guess the cage match was really good too. Jesse Ventura was very upset about the ending of the cage match.
Shout out to him. I like the little bit of autonomy with the announcers. Give me something to talk about. Why do you escape through the door? It reminds me of Jeff Van Gundy, Mark Jackson, Mike Breen,
I
the
just
classic ESPN ABC announce team. So
I
I'm here for it.
I get the take. I just don't like the idea that people are using that as the take. I'm like, people are allowed to actually also enjoy and find sense in there being a walk out of the cage. Because again, it was also just Damian ending the
It
feud,
was
looking
yeah,
back
and kind
and
of
leaving.
asserting his dominance while doing it as well.
Yeah, like no one's wrong here. And Jesse isn't completely right. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's okay to acknowledge that like it was a fine ending to the match. And if you wanted to protect Drew on his way out, which at least seems to be he's like going to be out for a while, you don't want to really pin him like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because
You can
really his critique is a very crotchety old
yeah,
critique.
like
It's like niggas in my day used to climb.
because I said the same thing. I was like, bro, like this is the type of drama school type shit that people love in wrestling today, and that's literally just all he did. So I thought it was funny that the same people who like those Ospreay, Paige, falling down, all that drama shit. Like that was the exact same thing as that. Like, and people are filleting that, but like not liking this. And I'm just like, again, guys, it's all the same thing. It's all the same
Right. Absolutely.
thing. NXT Battleground.
NXT Battleground. I thought this show. I had to watch it again on Sunday. Was it? Was it? I had to watch this on Monday. Shout out
Mm.
to Mondays. Because of basketball. So basketball can really listen between Friday, which I missed a good part of SmackDown, Sunday, which I missed a good part of Battleground, and then I guess Tuesday. I don't know. I can miss NXT, but this being a fan of a successful team is getting in the way of my wrestling. It's,
I
hey,
thought that there were matches on this show that were really good that really surprised me.
okay.
Namely the main event being like up there in one of my favorite like matches of the night. I feel
I
I'll
thought it
give
was
my
an
negative.
effective match. I don't know if it was my favorite tonight. I thought it was an effective match.
I like Trick in the match. I thought Trick had me hook like he had me in the palm of his hands. He was really good character wise in that match.
Right. Hmm.
The spinneroonie, all of that stuff
Terrible,
worked. It
terrible
worked.
spinneroonie.
It
Yeah.
was
Go ahead.
terrible, but it's meant to be terrible. He's a heel. You know what I mean? Like he's getting that character over. But I like
Yes.
Booker saying, "Give it to him." He was fucking wild that whole night. But I'll say this: I'll get my negatives out the way, and I think they kind of happened back to back here. There is no reason why Miles Bourne should have had the longest match on this. Oba and Miles should have had the longest match on this card.
Mm.
By any metric, they should not have had a match that long. I do not think it helped Oba to have a match that long and to be struggling against a guy that's that green. I think it was very obvious that Miles is very green in this match, but
He
also
seemed very he seemed like he understood the WWE style of match, is what I'll say.
the
Like,
2004 WWE style match. Yes,
yeah, the 2004, the one with drop kicks and power slams. Yes.
like it was very, very basic, and I think that it kind of exposed Oba a little bit too. Because why is this kid kicking out of your finishers? I thought
Mm.
that the fall from grace should be really protected in terms of him just being a massive, champion with these crazy moves that put people away. I did not like that at all. I thought it was very overbooked. I thought Oba, he didn't look weak, but he didn't. I mean, he was blown up by the end of the match because it went so long. He does not need to be having 17-minute matches. Meelz, like that's just period. This was
Mm.
longer than the Stephanie Vacker match. Like that makes no sense. And then also, why are you giving this much to a guy that probably won't see another title match for a very long time after this? So if he gets beat by a regular finisher in a month, this looks dumb.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I wasn't really the biggest fan of this match. I think I applaud more so the effort by those involved. But I do think realistically wise and psychology wise, in terms of making it make sense, it did go a little long. I think it would have been more effective if it was definitely shorter, especially considering you had an actual main event, right? Like you had a main event, Trick Williams, Joe Hendry. That's your biggest draw to match. I don't think this match this was a very AEW thing for it to go the distance for no particular reason when you have another match on the realm. But I thought the effort by Miles Bourne, great effort. Um, to me, Oba's reign is being very clearly hindered by the lack of competition, lack of real competition, right? A couple months ago we had the Javon and Trick Williams, but he's also had like Grayson Waller and Austin
This
Theory,
match was good.
and Jasper Troy is trying to like climb up these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
If you were to think who takes this title off of him right now,
if they want to put over LFG, give it to Jasper Troy.
I don't think it would be him either. I honestly think it's going to be Trick.
You think Trick
Yeah,
off Obafemi?
yeah, I think it'll be Trick.
Hmm.
Trick is going to be the biggest heel in the company after this TNA, like with this TNA stuff. Let's just be
Maybe
clear.
they want to give it to a TNA nigga.
I don't think that's going to happen, but like,
I don't
but
know about that.
I think that it'll be Trick because he's clearly kind of in his next phase of this heel character, fully embracing it. I did enjoy what I saw, and I do think that if this is the character going into it, knocking Trick off of the ladder, what if he just won both titles? Like that
Mm.
is peak. That's peak like asshole at that point, and where you have Hendry going after him, Santana possibly going after him, Oba going after him, and then they figure all of that out. And because when you look at that core Meelz, that kind of solves the competition problem right there. You'll have matches for Oba, Trick, all of
I
them. You know what I
I
mean?
think it's a little bit overkill to give him both because I think Trick himself has already made history, right? Like the I they've cemented Trick as kind of like this real now main event player in NXT, and now he's kind of like one of the top guys. He's won the TNA title. He's the first WWE wrestler to win an TNA World Championship. So now he's a world champion by whatever metrics you believe TNA is a world championship. But he is a world champion. So I think he's already made history. Loki, I just think get it get it there, wrap it up. By the end of the summer, he should probably lose it. Um, and we'll see kind of how it goes. But I don't think we need to give him both. I think if someone is taking it off Obafemi, um,
It's
I,
Trick, bro. It's
I
Trick.
think it could be Javon. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe it's
Javon's down the
Javon.
line. Javon's down the line, and I think Javon in the lead up to that, he needs to be Oba and he needs to be Trick in order to do that. Those are his two demons.
Well, I thought it was gonna be at some point. I mean, the rookie thing seems to be going very, very slowly, so I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. But at one point, I did think that the Ricky thing was going to happen, and this may lead into another bit of news at some point to talk about. I did think the Ricky thing was going to happen because originally NXT Stand and Deliver was going to be in New Orleans,
Yeah,
and now it's not.
yeah. Well, it can still
So
happen. It can still happen in wherever the fuck it's gonna
oh
happen.
yeah, I mean, Great American Bash New Orleans, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, who knows? Another victim of Shawn Michaels booking on this show. And again,
Mm,
I liked the show overall, but I Stacks and Tony D went too long.
yeah,
It was too long.
I to me, NXT still hasn't perfected the team breakup match. Um, because I can't think of one major one that I remember that was being actually good.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Stacks winning, no problem with it. The way it happened was so strange, and I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
understand why it happened that way.
He didn't even
Why were
get
you still
involved
trying
like
to
that.
Why were you still trying to hug? Why was he still trying to hug Tony after he cost him the match? But he didn't cost him the match because he was just standing there staring. But Tony got distracted. I do not understand I don't know why they just didn't do it all in one show.
Yeah, just hit him with the damn crowbar. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
Exactly. Like there were so many like callbacks that didn't really complete themselves. And like my thing is this: if
But they
Stacks
be
takes over,
overthinking that kind of shit, man.
that's
They
what I'm
really do.
saying. It'd be HBK booking, and I just didn't enjoy that. But I mean, overall, like I thought Sol Ruka and Kalani had a really good match. I'm gonna still knock it for looking too choreographed like the first one did, but I did like this one better than the first one.
I
It
liked it
lasted.
better than the first one. It feels like Kalani is improving in some aspects, but still kind of behind in others. So Ruka is the surest shot they have from NXT currently.
Yeah, she's the one.
She is clearly the one.
My
Um,
only complaint is
mm,
that I hate the way she runs the ropes, but that's just me. I don't like the way Saul runs the ropes.
these uber athletic niggas, man.
Well, it's
They
actually
be
the
with
least athletic thing that she does is run the rope. Like, go look at her run the ropes, and it looks really weird. Stephanie Vercera beat Jordan
what
Grace. They
good match, man. I
great
mean,
fucking match.
I think Jordan should just go up. Um, I don't think there's a place for her really in NXT. She seems like a level above NXT, and I also don't think narratively they can craft a good arc for her to win this women's championship in a meaningful way. I mean, they probably could, but I just think she's a better service on the main roster on a SmackDown or something.
I think she
Like have
wants.
her.
I think she wants the NXT Women's title though. Like, I think it's going to happen.
I don't think she should though. I think she just go up to SmackDown. Like you have a Naomi who needs another dance partner after this Jade shit ends, and you're the perfect one. You're the US championship division that desperately needs you. You know what I'm saying? I think Jordan Grace is the more she takes L's, the more you're like, mm, something's up with this. To me, this is just from me. The more she takes L's, the more it's like I think it does a disservice to her time being there, or at least she isn't perceived as someone really in the throw of things in the division.
She doesn't take many L's, and I think she was in on a streak going into this match. I mean, she beat Julia, which is a former champion, so I can't say that it's like
Right.
questionable. But I do agree in the sense that like they have so many of these women that are it's just so top heavy, and it's like look at how they just let Julia and Roxanne go to the main roster, and they're still loaded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're still having fantastic matches, and to your point, like it is time for the Jada Parkers and the Lola Vices and all of them to kind of get their chance to go. And to that point, JC Jane is getting
JC JC Jane, you know what I'm
a
saying?
title
Like
shot, and it feels like to me the JC thing is a final exam because she's kind of I don't want to say coasted, but been allowed to kind of hide behind teams for a long time. And I think it's time for us to see what she can do as a solo, and if she can be viable to move up very soon.
the problem, the NXT problem that they still fucking have with just too much kind of going on. I don't like seeing. I mean, we're at this point with the JC and Fallon just kind of like being there, attempting to break up for the last 5 weeks, and nothing really happening because they don't really have anything really like long term. It's like, well, are we calling them up? I'm not sure. When's the draft? Maybe in August. I don't know. Like, so it's this holding pattern where we're not sure of things. But I think this is a great opportunity for her. Shout out to them ladies from AAA who was ringside.
Yes. It
Boy, they
was.
look like some hating assholes, didn't they?
Bro, I
They-
said the same. I said, bro, shout out to her for sparking on them hating ass hoes, man.
Yeah, I was like, bro, they look so. I was like, this is A plus casting right here. Like
Yes,
this,
bro.
they look
Like
like haters, man.
I'm like, damn, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck these niggas coming over here, man?
They look like they're like, who is this bitch Stephanie?
They
Pulling
must know
up.
her for something. She must have took one of they niggas.
the- and one is clearly like 50 and one is clearly not. Like, shout out to them.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I need you to stop right now. Um, it looks like Steph and possibly Lola will be in the tag team match between these two. It hasn't been announced yet. I would imagine that this week it will be. But let me real quick run down the Worlds Collide card because they've just been saying the matches out. And apparently this isn't even going to be on Peacock. It's going to be streamed on YouTube, multilingual. And I get why they did that because you can't do that. I don't think you can do that on Peacock. Do the multi-language thing. So it's actually kind of smart they did that. But
Can they? Did they
I
do
don't,
it during the Olympics? I'm not
I
sure.
don't
They might have done it during the Olympics.
but not like this. You know what I mean? Like I would imagine that they just didn't even want to do that. But I mean, again, it's YouTube's fine. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
YouTube's
completely
fine.
fine. Legado del Fantasma versus El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., Pagano, and Psycho Clown. That was announced on SmackDown. It's a 6-man
Nigga,
tag team match.
who's gonna be the fucking announce team for this show?
Yes. Hey, who knows? Who knows? I'm actually really excited for this because they're
I'm
treating it like it's a big
too.
deal.
I'm excited too, but I wonder who they're gonna have to call. Ray.
Then you have Ricky Saints or Ethan Page versus a competitor who is yet to be announced. I'm not familiar with AAA, so I wouldn't even know who would be the perfect person to put there. But it would be a singles match for the North American Championship. And then you have Chad Gable versus El Hijo del Vikingo. Vikingo. I'm sorry. And that is going to be for
Hey man, it might be Vikingo.
I think it's Vikingo, but
All right, whatever.
that'll be for their big title, which is held by Alberto Del Rio right now, but it was spoiled on Raw that it will be for the title that apparently Vikingo holds. So there you go.
Hey man, niggas got in a fuss. Niggas got in a tussy about this, man. They're like, "I can't believe they would hire Alberto Del Rio." Even still to this day, I had someone in my mentions the other day. It's like, WWE held a MAGA campaign going into WrestleMania, so they probably don't give a damn what Alberto Del Rio does. And I'm like, nigga, they care. Like, relax.
But I mean, they just literally can't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they
Yeah,
literally can't do it. So, you
yeah,
know,
they're not gonna. People don't know. People claim that they do the contract status, but do you really know?
no, they
As
don't.
one Whitney Houston say,
No,
do
they don't.
you?
And I mean, we talk about Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. Why did Ricky not say loser leaves NXT? They don't have like a really good launching pad to kick Ethan off of this show, but he has no place on this show
I think
anymore.
he's gonna get drafted off of this show. I think he's not gonna. I think certain call ups are reserved for people that they have really plans for. But with Ethan, you don't really need a plan. You can just kind of call him up and he'll be there. Um, so I think he's going to get drafted off of this show.
Fine,
But he
fine,
will be, yeah, he will still be on this show after this
fine.
show is over with.
Real quick before we get
It
out
better
of
be a
here,
damn it better be a damn good match considering how much they built this shit up.
the last one was pretty good. The one at Stand and
I got a
Deliver.
couple quick hits if you I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know if
let's
you
go,
got any
let's go.
new.
Yeah,
Got a
let's go.
couple quick hits. Thoughts about WrestleMania. It was previously going to be in New Orleans. It's now seemingly all signs point to it's going back to Vegas.
I was
What do
pretty bummed. I was pretty bummed that it wasn't going to New Orleans because I've never been, and me and my wife are like really excited about the prospect of us going
right.
next
You think
year.
New Orleans could be cheaper if you go to Money in the Bank?
Probably not. Probably not. Probably be the same shit. I was bummed. I mean, I didn't really have much. People melted down about this online, obviously, but Vegas. I know it's another one of those things where you have to like recognize like that's TKO home base. That is
Yeah, it's
something
a TKO thing.
that's like Nick Khan's like favorite place to be. They made so much money there that they looked at it and said, "Why would we go somewhere else? We could push that off a year. We could do this twice, make it first time ever." I really do, like Vegas is just not my favorite place to be, and
Yeah.
I'm literally like an hour flight away from there. I like I might go next year now that I have like more of a heads up that it's going to be there, and I'll probably have a lot more of my ducks in a row. But like I get it, you know what I mean. But they don't need to. Don't make it 3 times in a row. I think people will get burned out if it's 3 times in a row. I don't think the burnout happens at the second time, but definitely the third time.
You know, the one notable thing I heard about Vegas, and I was listening to some other podcasts and some other like spaces and stuff, especially considering last year's Mania, that the price wasn't worth what actually happened.
The
And
show
maybe that's because
for
of the
them,
fucking finishes. I mean, you look at WrestleMania. I mean, the WrestleMania we've seen better WrestleManias
100%.
that have cost
I'm not
less.
gonna act like it was like.
Right, right, right. But
I'm not gonna act like this.
this was an arm and a leg WrestleMania. You know what I'm saying? This was pretty. This was the most expensive WrestleMania of all time.
It is on them to make a better show next year.
I agree. I agree fully. Um, Another bit of news: Will Ospreay has had a couple comments. Man, has had a lot of. He's talking a lot of shit about WWE. More
Mhm.
specifically, he believes that people who just got released, they shouldn't be able to just walk into AEW. They should be doing things like go to Stardom or go to New Japan or go somewhere else and really hone your skills before you show up here. Shouldn't be able to just walk through the door. What do you feel about this kind of gatekeeping uh, bullshit?
He ain't the one. He ain't the one. He ain't the one. A leader don't say shit like that. You know what I'm saying? That's just straight up.
Mm,
A leader just don't say shit like that. If he was a leader, you don't want to be a leader. You're not the one. You're not like the. You're not. I even hate to say this, bro. Like you're not like a good ambassador for this company. You're not. And but actually, maybe he is Meals because this is the type of personalities and people that this company breeds and types of fans that this company breeds. This is how they talk. This is
I
what they
agree.
say. This
Yeah,
is how they act online.
I can't agree with this kind of like it. I feel like if you get the opportunity to basically show yourself and you know prove an opportunity that you can be anywhere, you can be anywhere. I look at Mason Mansoor, and sure they're on ROH, but I think what they're doing, their gimmick is really really cool. And he was like, no, but Swerve, he's different. He's a special kind, and Bobby and Shelton and da da da. Da. I'm like, yeah, but now you glazing and trying to
You're gonna
work
say
your
that
way
the
around it.
you're gonna say that the Shotzi Blackheart, she's been in arenas bigger than you.
Yeah.
The stadium's bigger than you've been in. I mean, you got Wembley, but you're not doing that every month. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing that every quarter. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna say that to you're gonna say that to Isla Dawn. You're gonna say that to a lot of these other people who've been on huge shows and got big paydays. This is a guy who is paid to fly from England to America. He doesn't even live out here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, he doesn't understand like that type of grind. He's largely blocked from it. There's a lot of people who had to move here to do that. You're gonna tell them people like they need to work harder. They had to leave their families to do this. You get paid to fly here in
Mm.
first class, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, he not the one. He not the one. He's not a good ambassador. I don't think Swerve's a good ambassador for the company. The only person I feel like who like honestly is the best ambassador for this company is Sting and Bryan Danielson, because they don't say shit like that when you interview them.
Yeah.
They just don't. It's just a level of maturity that he just does not have. And I think that he is still very upset about whatever Triple H said. And he just can't roll with the punches and just get over it. I think that every time he speaks on WWE, he makes the company look more second rate and B grade when he does it. And when stuff happens, like the double triple headers, and when they counter program them, they're hearing all of that and they're saying, you know what? Give him another one. Like LeBron said with the bonus song, I'm gonna give him another one. That's what's gonna happen every time you talk shit. They're not gonna verbally respond to this. They're gonna do it with their actions.
Another bit of news. One Scorpio Sky. He's trying to figure out why the fuck he isn't booked on AEW television. Um, he's made it known through multiple interviews at this point. At first, he was kind of being coy. Second, he's not being coy. He just isn't sure. Tony Khan would then respond at the AEW Double or Nothing Scrum and says he likes Scorpio Sky. Plans that they have in the past just didn't work out, but he hopes he can work with him in the future. What's your thought on this? Because it just feels like the same thing that
Why you say it like that?
always happens. What do you mean?
I hope we can work again in the future. Like that, he's employed under you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've heard this before. We've heard this with Ricky. So it's not like, and this isn't like some gotcha thing, but it's like clearly there's a few modes of how this kind of happens with AEW and how they kind of like treat talent that they no longer work with. And the few reasons they don't want to work with you is if you're hard to work with. Um, the example I would use is maybe like a Punk, Britt,
Alistair.
Alistair, Britt Baker. Um, Second, if you're going to WWE and it's absolutely clear, I would use Alistair again, maybe Andrade, Rusev, um, Ricky, a couple other people. And then what was the third one I named? It was if you're going to WWE, if you're a nuisance, or the boss doesn't believe that you can wrestle. And if he says you are trash, tread ash in some sort of way, those are usually the only things that kind of keep it away just based on prior experience. Um, Again, I think while I'm not the biggest fan of Scorpio Sky, I do think that it's unfortunate he's in this situation where you have to be publicly denouncing your own boss because no one seemingly is responding or giving any additional details on why you just can't work
Yeah,
or
like
something.
let him. I'm not a huge fan either. Let him leave. Let him
Yeah,
go.
let him
Like,
go.
what's the point? Like you, I think AEW has like a locker room or like a mini locker room full of malcontents that they need to let go their own way. I think, I mean, regardless of Scorpio Sky, like, they used him for some pretty scummy shit. Let's just be clear.
Mhm.
Like, using him as like the face of like, oh, we got a black male superstar, and then just like banning him like a month later after the internet conversation was over is like just scummy. Like, it's just nasty. And he was clutching that brass ring like it was his mama. Like that shit was just nasty that they used him for. But he should be able to go make a wage doing what he loves to do. I think, like, yes, they're getting paid, and I think people need to recognize that, like, yeah, they're at home getting paid, but the real gold in wrestling is TV time, because that helps you get to the next level. And you have people like Scorpio Sky, Mariah May, Britt Baker. I think there's a couple other people who are just kind of sitting on the sidelines and they're missing that TV time, and it's actually hurting their stock because no one's seen them in months.
Mhm.
And I think that's more scummy than anything, is that they're not being used whatsoever. I don't know. I truly think that like when Britt Breaker gets on the podcast streak, we need to be listening because she about to spill all the beans.
Absolutely. And then one final thing, I guess, because we didn't talk about AEW Double or Nothing. What do you think of the two main events for AEW All In coming out of this match? And this is the Owen Hart, the result of the, because realistically, I mean, I liked what I saw from the show. I didn't really pay attention to the show, but I did like what I saw. I thought the Anarchy in the Arena match was probably the best one out of all of the ones that they've had. Um, I thought realistically the opener between Mercedes and Jamie Hayter kind of went as you expected, but was as
I heard it.
hard hitting.
I heard it wasn't that good.
I It just went as it was expected. um, but it's tough to buy into things when you know that one lady's not going to lose. And then the main event, I also think the main event was a little bit of a misstep. I think they tried to make something an epic that wasn't really necessary. Again, it's the finals of a tournament, but I don't know why it was a match that needed to go 40 minutes between
Yeah.
Osprey
Well, you know,
and Hangman Adam Page.
I was born is in there, so that's why I had to go 40 minutes.
S-
Um,
What do you think about the two main events coming out of it? You got,
I
now we're gonna have Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page, and we're gonna have Mercedes Monet versus Tony Storm.
I think it's pretty obvious who's going to win these two matches. But I have a little bit more deniability on the Mercedes Monet and Tony Storm one. I think there's more questions there because I think
Yeah.
that like ultimately who gets over from winning this match. Tony Storm is already established. He's beaten probably everybody on the division already.
hmm
And Mercedes has beaten everybody in the division already. So like who like does Tony get a rub from winning like and how does she get a rub from somebody that is beat like you know what I'm saying? Who's beating everybody already anyway, and you've beaten everybody. Like you guys are in static. You're static. You're not really gaining anything from both of you guys doing the same thing. You know, I think that like had this been the other way around and Tony was not the champion already,
Mm,
this probably has a little bit more of a rub, more of a push. You know what I mean? Because I think that like that to me is more interesting than what we're getting going into this. I think that spending your whole year having Mercedes go over people who Meelz needed a rub from her and needed to
right.
be her to get over, and
Building up
B
the momentum of a heel.
yeah, and building, you know what I'm saying, like building all those things up. Like I think that it's extremely detrimental the way that they have booked her over the past year. No one's going to admit that
I agree. I mean, they're
because
not gonna admit that because they feel like she's getting what she finally deserves for being the greatest women's wrestler that ever existed. But hey,
yeah, whatever. No one's gonna admit that, and I think that like ultimately you're gonna get a match that will probably be solid to good, and whoever wins, like who cares? You know what I mean? If Tony wins, it'll be oh look at Mercedes, she's so giving, and if Mercedes wins, it'll be like there it is. We all knew that she was the greatest woman of all time without actually beating some of the greatest champions from the other company. You know what I mean? Like that's just that's the narrative, and that's what it's gonna be.
I think Tony, again, I think the build of Mercedes over the last year does do a disservice to Tony. I also do think that this company has proven time and time again that they're a heel facing company. um, they support. It's not even more so about like how WWE was like it's about the chase. It's not really about the chase. It's about who they believe is the better wrestler for the moment as it is. And I think if you have Mercedes Monet take her first L here, it's a little weird considering how she's been built up over the last number of months. But if you have timeless Tony Storm take an L here, you're giving her all of the belts.
Exactly.
So at what point does it become too much? Um, and the transfer over to the men's, I think Hangman Adam Page was the right decision, albeit I've said this before. it's the right decision, but we've seen this story before. Um,
No, just go ahead and say it. I need people to stop thinking that Hangman's gonna win this match.
yeah, I don't think. Not only do I not think he's going to win this match, I think if he did win the match, it would be even worse. They clearly cannot book this man they can't book faces in general. It just they're just not. Even Hangman Adam Page is like a questionable character, right? He's trying to redeem himself currently, but his way of redemption isn't through winning the AEW World Championship. It's probably some with Swerve. Um, but he's the one who has the most narrative gravitas of probably anyone there, because Osprey is just like a Street Fighter character. Um, but he's the one who carries the weight of this a lot more narratively when you put him against the side of Moxley, who albeit can be scatterbrained in the way that he's trying to do things, but ultimately you can center this a little bit more from there. So I think it's the best thing. I don't know if it's going to be the best match. I'm not looking forward to this match. Um, Adam Page isn't a dynamic wrestler. Moxley, you have to catch him on the right day against whatever Japanese guy.
It ain't been a good
Um,
day in a while. I think that people need to see the forest for the trees at this point and understand that the Bucks would not be in Mox's orbit if they were not angling for them to cost him the title. Come all in. It's going to be Hangman and Swerve versus those two idiots in the fall. Accept it. You can't ignore it. Darby's off of Mount Everest. He's winning that title. That's it.
Darby is winning the title. Yes, that is actually the way it should end, is Darby winning the title. But I've also heard that they want him to hold this very, very long.
Mox?
Yeah.
When Mox drops that title and goes back to WWE, I'm going to be so weak. Not saying he is, but I'm just saying if he does that would be so hilarious.
um, but yeah, that's the AEW. Listen to more of it on the War Report.
Yep.
Tap into that. They're going to be covering this show and that show and this show and that show this week. So you're probably going to get quite a bit of a show. Also, listen, we have a new episode of Rewriters Room this week. We're covering the Logan Paul arc of the Bloodline saga. So make sure that very timely in terms of everything that's happened this week. So make sure that you guys listen to that. And yeah, man, subscribe to the Patreon if you haven't already.
Yeah. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. There's actually going to be a prediction show next week, which is crazy. So we'll be talking about Money in the Bank. I don't know. Is it the prediction? Will it be?
Yes,
wow.
it is. Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is.
This year's going by too fast. All right, you guys. So until next week, for Meelz, I'm Justin, and we'll talk to you guys later on the A Show. Peace.